there, future Disney vacationers. Welcome to the Disney Planning Pod, your go-to place for all planning information for your Disney World vacation. I'm your host, Haley, a diehard Disney fanatic who loves planning her family's Disney World vacations almost as much as visiting Disney herself.
And I'm Stephanie, the sister, who is a normal, non-Disney adult. I don't have any knowledge of planning. I'm coming into this podcast just like a Disney newbie and learning just like the rest of you.
Today, we're kicking things off with the golden question. How do you plan your perfect Disney World trip? So we're starting at the very beginning, Disney 101, and we've got a whole checklist to ensure you don't miss a thing. We are assuming that you do not know anything about planning Disney World. So for you newbies out there, this is the perfect podcast episode for you. But before that, let's talk a little bit about ourselves and why we started the podcast. So Stephanie, why did you want to join the podcast?
Because you made me. So...
Okay, so that's true. So I wanted to start the podcast because planning a Disney World trip is so complicated these days, and there is so much that goes into it. And you almost need to take a whole course in making sure that your Disney World vacation is perfect. There are so many different steps to it and nuances that a perfect day at Disney World will be very difficult unless you plan ahead and know what you're planning for. So we take several vacations a year, and Disney is always my favorite. And I've come to be a little bit obsessed by Disney planning. Would you agree with that sentiment, Steph?
100%. You are a Disney adult.
Well, I feel like that's a derogatory term, but I am going to fully embrace it. And yes, I am a Disney adult. I love planning. I watch YouTube videos about Disney World for fun, and I do work full time, and I do have a travel blog on the side, GleasonFamilyTravels.com. That's a shameless plug. Go check it out. It has Disney World stuff on it, but also a lot of family planning, vacation stuff there. So I write about all sorts of topics, but my favorite thing to write about is, you guessed it, Disney World. And so I thought, okay, how does the basic mom trying to work full-time, raise a family, and plan a Disney World vacation do it without the tools like podcasts? I know I've learned a ton from podcasts about Disney World planning, and so I wanted to put my own spin on it, and I thought it would be fun to bring Steph along because she knows nothing about Disney, nor does she care. And so I felt like it would be a unique perspective, and she could add her 2 cents in on her thoughts and also make sure that I stay on track and don't go off on tangents or use big Disney World lingo. So Steph, what is your history with Disney World?
Well, I was never the kid that wanted to go to amusement parks, mostly because of you. And just to explain that more, my sister is the one that loves amusement parks, as you can tell. And she thinks everyone needs to ride the rides and do the things, which is good. But I just was never that kid. So we went to Disney World when I was in high school, and it was a good experience. You know, it was fine, but I wasn't enamored. I feel like everyone else was.
Well, I don't think that when we went in high school for our youth group trip, that they probably planned it right. I mean, looking back on it, they probably didn't know what they were doing to fully maximize your Disney experience. There is much more than just the ride stuff. So if you would ever just let me take you back to Disney World, I am sure that I could plan just the perfect trip for you. Stop shaking your head. This is what this whole podcast is about. It is my goal in life to convince you that you need to plan a Disney World trip. And today we're going to go over step by step where to start and how to do it. So I guess we should just begin. This is our very first episode. So thank you, all 12 listeners out there that are probably listening to this right now. I mean, if we got 12 listeners, I would be thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first segment before we dive into how to plan your Disney World vacation is we are going to do a segment called Magic Words Decoding Disney. Okay. This segment is dedicated to demystifying Disney World's unique lingo because you really honestly need a dictionary to know all the lingo that comes with planning Disney World. So today we're breaking down what it means when we say going to Disney World. Now, what does it mean to you, Steph? What do you think of when I say let's go to Disney World?
People, heat, long lines, children.
Yes, there's all those things as well. However, Disney World is not just hate, long lines, children. And people may think just of the theme parks when they think of Disney World. But Disney World or Walt Disney World Resort means everything that Disney World encompasses. So it covers approximately 25,000 acres. So the size of Disney World Resort and the whole Disney World property, it's like a little city, is about the size of San Francisco.
Wow. I did not know that. That's pretty huge.
Yeah. So out of that, only about half is currently used. So there's lots of room to build and lots of room to expand. So there are 4 major theme parks. There is Magic Kingdom, and that was the first park that was opened in 1971. And that's the original park. That is the park that you think of when you think of Cinderella's castle and that icon. And then there is Epcot, and that is the experimental prototype community of tomorrow.
Wow.
And that was opened in 1982. And that is the theme park that's dedicated to celebrating human achievement, particularly technology, innovation, and international culture. So that is where you will find the World Showcase, where you can visit 11 different countries in theory. I mean, it's not like a time travel machine that transports you to the countries.
Now that I would go to. I would go to that if that was it.
Someday you will go with me and eat and drink around the world, and it'll be lovely. Until then, let's continue. And then there's Disney's Hollywood Studios. It was originally MGM, and that opened in 1989, and it offered originally attractions based on film, television, music, and theater, and it still does. But that's where you will find Star Wars, Galaxy's Edge Land, Toy Story Land. You'll see Tower of Terror, and Stephanie's all-time favorite, Rock and Roller Coaster.
I liked it. I wouldn't say like it was my top favorite.
Yeah, because you're a big weenie. And then the last theme park will be Disney's Animal Kingdom. And this is the newest of the 4. But when I say new, I say that with a little caution because it was opened in 1998. Which doesn't that just feel like yesterday, 1998?
Yeah.
I'm like, really, oh, it's just like 10 years ago. No, it was not. So it's themed around the natural environment and conservation, and you will find things like the safari, Everest, which is a roller coaster that, of course, Steph didn't ride. And then also at Disney World Resort, besides the theme parks, you're going to find 2 water parks, which is Blizzard Beach. Yeah, Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. They each have a unique theme and attractions, obviously water slides. And so you can definitely spend one of your non-park days at the water park. And a lot of times Disney World will have different promotions that you can get a free water park day with your stay. So, and then there is more than 30 themed resort hotels ranging from value prices. And when I say value, it's Disney value. They're still a little pricey. And then you can find also luxury accommodations. They also have like a timeshare, which is called Disney Vacation Rentals, or DVC, which is like a timeshare for Disney adults. I'm trying to convince my husband to buy into that. And then you will also find over 300 dining venues and restaurants on the property. And you'll also find Disney Springs, which is the outside shopping, dining, and entertainment complex, which also has over 150 establishments, both dining and shopping. You'll also find a whole transportation system available to all guests, and that includes buses, monorails, boats, and also a Skyliner or gondola. That is new. That was before your time, Steph, but it's pretty cool. My kids love the Skyliner. And then you'll also find several golf courses, mini golf courses. So there is much more to do than just the theme parks. So Disney World also is one of the largest single site employers in the entire United States with over 75,000 employers or employees that work throughout the parks. So every year, Disney World hosts about 20 million visitors. So
that is a lot of people.
Yes, the entire resort hosts around 58 million visitors. So 20 million visit the parks, and then another, what is that math? 38,000 or 38 million people will just visit the property, whether that be Disney Springs or the resorts or the golf courses. So a pretty busy place. So when we say you're going to Walt Disney World, and people tell you that, you might clarify, is it just the parks or is it other things? So there's some knowledge for you. What do you think about that?
That's a lot of knowledge to know. That's a lot of like random numbers to know, which again just shows you're a Disney adult about how excited you got just explaining that. I don't
Aren't
know.
you impressed?
I'm really impressed by all that knowledge. But man, 58 million visitors. You don't even like people like and you're like love Disney.
I do. I do like them.
I do.
I don't like the people. I do love Disney. People are okay. My job requires me to like people. I work in healthcare. But when I go on vacation, I don't, which is weird that I love Disney so much. So
I know. That's what I'm trying to say is that's just a lot of people and a lot of like when you think about going to Disney or when I think about going to Disney, I think about just going to the parks, right? Like who even thinks about like hotels or like water parks or like where they're going to eat or anything like that? Like that just too much. It hurts my brain.
Well, that is why I am here, because it is important to have some planning ahead of time. Because there are certain rules when planning where you're going to eat and where you're going to stay. And so we're about to break all that down. So we're going to move on to the main topic, planning your Walt Disney World trip. So, Steph, if I said you had to plan a Disney World trip for your entire family, what would be the most overwhelming aspect of it? Just starting right off the bat, if someone that does not know anything about Disney World.
Oh gosh, Disney in general basically is just overwhelming. But I don't know, like there's things right called rope drops or line drops or space drops, I don't know, but like when you can get on rides and like people are like trying to get the best times and all that, like what I would just show up and just stand in a line for 2 hours. Like that would just be overwhelming, is trying to plan your day around like trying to get to a certain ride.
Yes, and we will have an episode all about rope dropping. Rope dropping is what it's called.
Look at me go.
That'll be part of the Walt Disney lingo that we learn about. And we'll also go over all of those aspects in greater detail in episodes in the future. But I just wanted to make sure that people who are starting out planning Disney World have a clear-cut checklist of what they need to do when they're starting planning. And then later on in our episodes, they can kind of fill in the details. So if you visit the DisneyPlanningPod.com and look, we do have a free checklist that you can use, and it's the same checklist that we'll go over today, just on how to outline how to plan your next Disney World trip. So let's go over the checklist. Steph, I did give you a copy. What do you think of this checklist? It's absolutely free. You can go get one.
It's real cute.
So,
who doesn't like a good checklist? I'm a teacher, so checklists make things more manageable for me. So
I had you in mind when I designed it. Yes.
Did you? I like it.
Yes, because if I'm ever going to get you to go to Disney, I have to make it more manageable for you to plan.
Oh my gosh.
Let's be honest.
By months. I thought it was just going to be like pack this. Like
no. So you can plan Disney in a shorter amount of time. Like, sometimes I would just be like, hey, let's go to Disney World in 3 months. But if you're really considering it, a good rule of thought is to plan at least 9 months out. So on the checklist, we break it down by months. So the first thing that you're going to want to do between months 9 through 12, and this is also part of step 1 of things that you would need to do, is set a budget. Now, Disney ain't cheap. So you're gonna most people need time to at least like save for it. So Steph, when I make you go in a year, you need to start saving.
Yay.
Now,
When I think of like a budget for Disney, I'm like thinking like $10,000. Like that's just to me, like I don't even know what Disney costs. Like when I think of it, I'm like, oh yeah, $10,000.
yes. So we will have a full episode about how much you can expect to pay. However, you don't need to pay $10,000 to go to Disney World. Like
it's really been a deterrent.
Like you can spend $10,000 very easily, but you do not have to pay $10,000. There are so many budget ways that you can do it. So you are going to want to make sure that you establish a budget so that you know how much that you will have to spend on your hotel rooms. And you'll know obviously how much to budget for food, whether you're going to be doing more high cost restaurants. So those restaurants are usually like character dining. So if you want to have breakfast with Mickey Mouse, you can, but it's going to cost you. Versus if you would like to just put in a grocery order and send some like Uncrustables to your hotel to eat for breakfast.
A restaurant that's like the characters no one likes, that's like cheaper, but you still get to like eat with the characters.
I mean, there's definitely ones that no one really likes, but no, it's still expensive.
All right. Just asking.
Who would be there?
Me? I mean, you've met my husband. He'd be like, no, if you want to see a character, we're going to go to the one down the alley that has like the Lost Muppets or something in it.
Oh, poor Muppets. I feel bad for them. But yes, there's not a Muppet restaurant. Anyway, setting a budget is going to be important because that's where it's going to start. Like, that's going to give you like an idea of how many days you can actually afford, how many tickets, you can afford, what you can eat, all that good stuff. So then you're going to want to pick your dates. So our next episode actually is going to be all about when the best time to go and visit Disney World is. Per season, there's times of year that it is much better. My favorite is February. Spoiler alert.
Mine would probably be never, but I'm just kidding. If I could go to Disney World, I guess I would go, but maybe it's happening. I know someday, but it's fine.
Yep. Yeah. It's like now that we have a podcast, isn't it like like a tax write-off?
Is that how I'm going to spin it?
Well, I think like, after our 12 listeners like really bring us in the big bucks that, we'll be able to like really call this a podcast business. So yeah, so 9 to 12 months out, you're going to want to pick the time of year that you want to go. And then you are going to want to research where to stay. So there are perks of staying on property. So staying at one of those 30 plus Disney World hotels on property and staying off property. Obviously, if you stay off property, there are some great hotels that are much cheaper if you're not staying actually at Walt Disney World, but you do not get a lot of perks. So for example, if you stay on property, you get to go into the parks 30 minutes before those staying off property every single day. 30 minutes is huge when you are trying to beat other people to the big attractions in the morning at rope drop. So
dang, rope
that
drop
is a perk.
Causing anxiety just thinking about it. So which one is best, would you say?
So of course which hotel?
Or, I don't know. Which is best? On-site, off-site?
So I have done both. Of course, I love staying on property. But if you don't have the funds to stay on property, and this is like the only time you can go to Disney World, it's still awesome staying off property. You're not missing much. I mean, a lot of the off-property hotels actually still have Disney theming at them because they know that most of the people coming and staying at their hotels are going to be going to Disney World. So their hotels still have Disney theming to them. If you can afford it, though, staying on property, I mean, you just can't beat it. It's awesome. And there are some value hotels that you can still stay at. And again, we'll have an episode breaking this all down here in the next few episodes. But, either way, you can't go wrong. So, yeah. then you're going to want to create an account with the My Disney Experience at mydisneyexperience.com. And that's where you're going to be able to book things, buy tickets, book your resorts. And they also have an app for that as well. So those are all the things you need to do 6 to 12 months ahead of time. So as it starts to get closer, 7 to 8 months out, if you are coming from outside the US, you want to renew or apply for your passport. And then you are going to start wanting to research Disney World restaurants. Again, you don't have to book any of these restaurants, but go into that My Disney Experience app and just start looking at menus, looking at prices of how much things cost for the restaurants. And then you're going to look at those crowd calendars to see what days are best to visit each park.
I'm sorry, what?
A crowd calendar.
What?
So
you just said it like it was like people would know. A crowd calendar, obviously.
So people do lots of research on Disney World, people much smarter than me, and they are able to predict what days of the week during what times of year are going to be the lowest crowds.
So you've picked really.
Yeah, so you've picked the time of year you want to go, but now you can actually look and see, okay, Magic Kingdom this day is less busy than the other days that I'm going to be there. So I'm going to Magic Kingdom this day. Or Epcot's going to be more busy Thursday, but not Tuesday when I'm there. So I'm going to pick Epcot Tuesday. Now, in the show notes, I will link some of my favorite websites for crowd calendars that you can look at. So you can start getting an idea of how you're going to plan your days at Disney World, whether you're staying just 3 days, 2 days, 1 day, or if you're staying 2 weeks. So you can get an idea of what days.
I feel like that's the smartest thing I've heard people do with their, like a Disney adult do. Like, I would get behind that.
Just wait till we start talking about spreadsheets for Genie Plus. Okay. You don't know what Genie Plus is right now?
Aladdin's Genie, except like maybe he's purple and bigger.
Well, you're not wrong. But we'll get to that. So that's what you're going to want to do 7 to 8 months out. So then 4 to 6 months out, you're going to research the must-see attractions at all of the parks. So you're going to want to decide what your family is going to want to do and what the highest priority for your family is. Now, if Steph was going, it would be like Dumbo the Flying Elephant.
It would be
the Magic Kingdom.
It would be the teacups, okay? Like, I ain't into riding the rides. Like, just point me to a good old, like, swing set, or like, what do they have at the carnivals with the horses that go up and down?
A carousel.
Oh, thank you. Like, I need those rides in my life. I don't, and here's my other thing. As I go off on this tangent. If they have let's look at what it is called, a crowd calendar, okay? Do they have maps of the rides so I can see what to expect when I'm riding the rides? Because that's what we need to create if it's not created yet.
Like a map? What do you mean a map? Like Dumbo goes around in a circle. A carousel goes around in a circle. You need a map to show it goes around in a circle? Like, I'm confused.
I'm just saying, like, the more complicated rides, like, am I gonna like get jumped out at? Am I gonna have a drop? Is there like a whirly-do in the middle? Like, I need to know these things.
There are lots of YouTube videos that you can like look at each ride. So yes, it's already been created, but I wish we would have been the first to it, Steph.
Darn it.
We'd have more than 12 listeners right now if we had discovered that. So anyways, per your family, like, you're going to want to decide like the must-see rides. There's also shows. There are cool little shops. There is a Christmas shop, Steph, at Magic Kingdom. I know you love some Christmas and you love some shopping. So while I am off doing Big Thunder Mountain and Space Mountain and Tron, you can be at the Christmas shop for 3 hours.
Let's be honest, you'd never let me be at the Christmas shop if you're riding the rides. But that would be a great experience. Let's keep that in mind if I'm going to go to Disney with you.
I will let you be who you want to be.
Thank you.
Even if that's a wimp. Yeah. So now 4 to 6 months out, if you are flying into Orlando, this is going to be when you're going to want to look at booking tickets closer to the 4-month window. People can go less than that. I'm just like a planner and it gives me anxiety to wait. more than that, especially if I have a family. And it's not just me. So flying, booking tickets right in that 4 to 6 month window. So then at 4 months, you're going to want to purchase your park tickets. Now, you're going to want to decide how many days of tickets you want. Now, my family likes to do a rest day after we've been to 2 to 3 parks because you walk a lot. And so we spend that day at the pool. So even if we're staying in Orlando for 5 days, we might only buy 4 days of park tickets. Does that make sense?
That's smart.
Yes. So the more tickets you buy, the cheaper they become. So our next trip in June, we are going for 8 days and we're buying 6-day park days. And to add, we were trying to determine, do we want to add a 6-day or just do 5 park days? But it was only like $20 to $30 more to add that 6th day because it gets cheaper the more days you add. So just FYI, your most expensive park ticket is going to be if you only go for 1 day.
Really?
Yes.
I wouldn't think that.
Yes. So those ticket prices do fluctuate based off the time of year. Obviously, if you're going during a busy season, they're going to be more expensive than when you go during off-peak season. So just keep that in mind. And again, you can buy those at mydisneyexperience.com. You can also go through a travel agent. Sometimes that's kind of nice because they can book different packages for you and it kind of takes the hassle out of it. So just also keep that in mind. Usually using a travel agent doesn't cost anything extra. So that they would probably be a good option for you, Steph.
Oh, yeah. You're my travel agent. I don't need to hire one.
I enjoy this stuff, but some people might not, and a travel agent is a great option. So then at the 4 months time, you're also going to want to download the My Disney Experience app if you haven't already. If you've been doing all this stuff on your desktop, which I don't know if people actually just use desktops anymore, but maybe.
I have one at school that I use, but I mean, other than that, no.
Yeah, so you'd want to download the app because in the app, that is where you're going to link your tickets to, so that you have them right there. And then I already went over this. You're going to link your tickets in the My Disney Experience app. Now, if you are going to need a stroller, you can actually rent strollers through different companies around Orlando, so you don't have to bring your stroller on a plane. We do this because we don't like hauling our stroller. But they also have strollers at each Disney park you can rent. We don't like to rent them from the park because they're kind of uncomfortable. And my kids like to take a good stroller nap. So I will also link my favorite stroller company down below in the show notes.
There's literally a company that just rents you out strollers.
Yeah, they'll bring the strollers directly to you. And then you have it for like the whole week. And then they take it back. And it usually has like a snack tray. It has a rain cover because sometimes it'll rain. And so my kids like to be under that rain cover because it keeps them dry while I'm getting soaked pushing them through Disney World.
Oh, sounds like such a great time. I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want to go.
And if you have mobility issues, you can also rent an ACV. So they also rent those through the stroller company. So you'll want to put in your request about 4 months ahead of time.
I need an ACV just to go.
Well, Steph, then you'll appreciate
get like a scooter.
Then you'll appreciate the next step. Around 4 months, if you are not used to walking a lot, you're going to want to start your walking routine.
Stop it.
To get used to it. Yes.
You put this on our Disney planning checklist is to start walking at 4 months.
Just to remind people that if you haven't and aren't used to exercise, then you might want to start a walking routine at 4 months ahead of time.
I just see all these women. Sorry, honey. I can't get the kids' bath tonight. Got to start my walking routine. We're going to Disney.
Your hubby would probably benefit from a walking routine too. It's a whole family affair. Take the kids because you're going to have whiny kids if they have to walk more than they're used to. And especially if you're not renting a stroller.
Oh, man.
Again, all these steps will be on our free checklist at disneyplanningpod.com. Okay. Now, this is where it gets tricky. 60 days out, you are going to want to make dining reservations for table service restaurants. Do you know what table service restaurants are?
I'm thinking that they're restaurants with tables.
All the restaurants have table stuff. They are ones that you go in, you sit down, you order off a menu. There's a waiter or waitress that brings it to you. It's like not fast food.
Okay.
So these are going to be like your character experiences, some of the more fun theming, and there are a lot of different themes and fun table service restaurants out there. And again, if you would follow the checklist, you will have already been researching them from 7 to 8 months out. So
I would go in there looking for like an Olive Garden or Chipotle or
if you like Olive Garden, you will love Tony's Town Square at Magic Kingdom stuff. It is Italian. It's right on Main Street, and they serve the best Olive Garden-esque Italian food that a woman could want. So you would know this.
If I followed our planning checklist.
If you followed the planning checklist and started researching the Disney World restaurants. Now, you have to be really on your game because Disney dining reservations will open up at 60 days for your trip. You cannot book them any sooner. And people leap on these like a leopard to a gazelle.
That's terrifying.
You need, if there is something you really want, you need to be awake and online at 6 a.m. Eastern time. But you need to get up and you need to book before everyone else does. And you need to book and try to get those hard to get dining reservations at 60 days. Now, let's say you don't get the reservation you want.
Dun, dun, dun.
What do you think you do? Cry?
Somewhere else.
Of course not, Steph. This would not be the Disney planning pod if I just said eat somewhere else. There are companies that you can pay $20 that will monitor the reservations for you so that when someone cancels, it'll send you a notification to your phone and you jump on there and you book it.
I would just pay the $20 and just do that anyways.
Okay. So anyways, all hope is not lost is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right. Wow. People really make money off Disney, don't they?
Yeah, for sure. Faux show. So if there's a really hard to get reservation and it's already booked up, then don't worry. I'll again put it in the show notes.
Okay. Show notes. Okay.
Now, also keep in mind, if you are staying on property and you're staying for 10 days, you can book at 60 days from the very first day of your Disney vacation. You can book 10 days out. So that gives you an advantage over someone that stays off property because they can only book for the day that is 60 days out. So if they're staying off property for 10 days, they can book that first day of dining reservations, but they have to wait till the next day to book the next day's dining reservations. And by then, someone on property may have already scooped up those.
That seems a little favoritism, but all right. Good to know. Good to know information. All the same.
Yes. So that's a perk of staying on site. Now, also, at 60 days out, you can start your online check-in at your Disney World resort. So if you're staying online, you can get on the My Disney Experience app and start the check-in process. You don't have to, but it just makes it nice that everything's in there and ready to go so that you're already checked in.
But 60 days out?
Yeah, you can do it as early as that. So, okay. Now, you are also going to want to make your theme park reservations if your specific Disney ticket requires it. Now, they just got rid of this requirement for most date-based tickets. So if you get on and you just buy a regular ticket package, you don't have to worry about this. You can go to any park that you want on any day. But if you buy a certain package, or like I go for a lot of conventions for different medical education, I have to actually pick the parks that I'm going to be in that specific day. And so you want to make reservations because sometimes those reservations can fill up. So just check your ticket is what I'm saying. Most people will not need to do that.
That just made my eye twitch a little bit.
You would probably not have to worry about it. All right, so 45 days out, we're getting closer. You are going to want to order your Magic Band off DisneyStore.com.
Do you have to have the Magic Band?
No.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
want to ask what? Do you want to ask what a Magic Band is?
Well, mostly just because it just looks like a bracelet. I was just gonna say like it looks. I mean,
so it is a bracelet, and it can be the key to your room. It's also can be your entrance ticket. You just like scan your bracelet when you get in. It also, if you are booking a lightning lane, which is the skip the line pass, it will help you scan into the ride. You don't have to have one though. If you have an Apple Watch, you can use your Apple Watch as a Magic Band. You can also use your phone.
Okay.
As your entrance ticket and your key and all of that stuff, or they can mail you a actual like ticket card.
Oh,
yes.
No one wants to be that person.
But you can put it on a lanyard. Look cool.
I'm getting the bracelet. What is it called?
I know. A Magic Band.
A Magic Band.
It's great.
Did see that you can like get different designs and stuff. And I only know that because you did it. You weirdo.
Yeah. We love our Magic Bands. They light up during the fireworks shows, like and play to like the music of the fireworks shows and vibrate on certain rides. And you can play certain games using a Magic Band.
Okay. Well, can you use them more than one time though?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So like we just went to Disneyland in July, and Disneyland just got Magic Bands, the capability to use them. And so we'll use them again this summer. And then the ones we had before that, we used multiple times. So yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes. It's an investment, but if you're going to go multiple times, it's a great investment. I mean, I think they're like $30 to $45. So,
okay, good to know.
You're going to do that 45 days out. You're also going to want to make arrangements for transportation from the airport, or rent your car. So if you're not going to rent a car, Disney has free transportation, like once you're on property, to get to any of the theme parks, to get to the hotels. And so you don't have to worry about actually having a car once you get to Disney World, but you're going to have to get from the airport to Disney World. And there are several different options. If you're an Uber or Lyft kind of girl, you can book one of those. You can book a car share service. Now, the nice thing about the car share service is if you have a kid that needs a car seat, you can book a car share service that will include the car seat with it.
Oh, well, that's handy.
So you can buckle them in. And a lot of times those car share services will also include a 30-minute stop at a grocery store. So if you need to pick up groceries, like I said, if you're going to eat Uncrustables for lunch and breakfast, you can stop at the grocery store.
Not a liquor store, though.
No, you could. I think you can buy liquor at the grocery stores.
Well, these are just important questions our followers might need to know. So,
yes, if you'd like your White Claws with your Disney trip in the evenings, I wouldn't condone drinking them before going to the park, but after a long day, sitting on your balcony at your Disney resort and need a little White Claw, yes, you can also usually stop that during your 30-minute stop at the grocery store.
Good to know.
Yes. There's also what we call Mears. Mears is a bus shuttle service that will take you from the airport to your Disney resort. So it's MEARS. I'll put it in the show notes.
Probably a good idea.
So, yeah. So that's what you want to do about 45 days out. Now, we're almost to our trip. 30 days out. You're going to want to make sure that you confirm the hours that the park is open. So park hours, they fluctuate throughout the year. So you might have checked this 2 months ago and it might have said that Magic Kingdom is closing at 9 p.m. But as it gets closer, voila, it might be open till 10 or 11 now. So you just want to know. And also they'll change their opening times too. So about 30 days out, you'll want to check this.
Just seems like they're trying to trick you. They're like, how can we make this more difficult? Oh, let's change the times as well.
It's all in the My Disney Experience app, Steph, that the checklist already told you to download.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
The checklist will not steer you wrong.
Are we going to go over like some of these like more in depth? Because this is okay. I mean, this is a good checklist, but I would be just
This is the introduction. This is our first podcast, Steph. We would be here for 3 days if I went over everything in detail. So, yes, we will have an individual episode over a lot of these things. Okay. So, 30 days out, you will also need to apply for your Disability Access Services Pass if needed. So if you have a disability and need accommodations for lines while you are at Disney World, you will want to apply for this pass. So Disney is very accommodating to those that have or need accommodations. So 30 days out, you're also going to research your Genie Plus strategy.
Oh, a strategy, huh?
Do you know what Genie Plus is?
Listen, Haley, I just told you, I think it has to do with Aladdin. Like, obviously, you've made it seem like it doesn't, but it also sounds like the Disney app.
It's on there, yes. The Genie Plus is on the Disney app. It is your skip the line access. So you can purchase an additional skip the line feature to your ticket. It fluctuates based off how busy the park is that day. Anywhere from $20 up to $40 per person. And it allows you to skip the long lines. Now, the caveat is everyone else is fighting for the same lightning lanes or the same Genie Plus lightning lanes. And so there's only so many available for the day. So you are going to want to research your strategy 30 days out and know which lightning lanes at which park you want to book first, because they will run out. Again, check out a further episode for this.
Oh, thank goodness, because I was feeling overwhelmed and I was just like, there's not enough time to cover. If you have to have a strategy and you're all fighting for it,
Again, you need like a PhD to plan a Disney World trip, which is what we're here for. All right, 30 days out. If you got pets, you need a pet sitter. Find someone.
Who's bringing their pets on vacation?
Some people
I'm sorry
might.
if people do, but like it's like me bringing my dog Ember, who is a maniac. Like that would be terrible.
Not everyone has maniacs for pet stuff. Make sure you have enough prescription medication. If you are driving, plan out your route. Now, Google Maps usually does this for you.
But please do not try to do this yourself, people. Use Google Maps. Depend on them.
Our father would not be happy with that advice. He thinks everyone is dumb because we don't know how to use maps these days. I know how to use a map. I just choose to plug it into my phone. But plan out your route. Also, get your oil changed in your car if you haven't done so when you're driving.
I love that that's on the checklist. Get oil changed.
If I didn't have it on there, I might forget. All right. So now we're 2 weeks out from our vacation. You are going to want to arrange a grocery delivery service to your resort if you aren't stopping there on the way from the airport. So there's lots of ways to do this. There's Shipt, there's Instacart, there's Amazon, Walmart Plus, I think, also does delivery. There's lots of different delivery services. So you want to maybe arrange that and put your order in. And it can be delivered directly to Bell Services at your hotel. If you don't have any alcohol in it, you don't need to sign for it. So they can just drop it off and you can pick it up at Bell Services when you get to your resort. Now, that's strictly for Disney World hotels. So if you're staying off property, you might want to check with that specific hotel to see what their policy is on it. But if you do have alcohol, you will have to be there to sign for it.
And if you're going to Disney World, you might need alcohol.
Touche. Now, if you're flying from outside the USA, you're going to want to complete the advanced passenger information and secure flight process at least 72 hours before your flight. So, all right, a week out, you're going to want to check that weather forecast. Now, it's Florida, so that weather forecast is probably going to change 48 times before you get there. But this is going to give you a good indication of what type of clothes you're going to need to bring. Disney World is most of the time hot. It can get cold in the wintertime, but it's hot, it's rainy, so you're going to want to know if you need to pack a raincoat or ponchos, or if you're going to bring shorts or a jacket. So check that weather forecast about a week out and then kind of watch it every day. You're also going to want to start packing. We've got lots and lots of packing lists on our website, so check it out. We've got one for each season. So tells you what to bring. Yay!
People just don't pack. It's just not on the checklist.
You didn't put it on the checklist, so I forgot to do it. 7 days out, you are going to want to purchase Memory Maker if that's something you're interested in.
Okay. You say it with such confidence, like we all know what a Memory Maker is. Like, character,
Yes, it is the photo service for Disney. So you can purchase Memory Maker and you can get all the photos for your whole trip. So throughout each park, they have Disney Photo Pass photographers, especially at areas that you want pictures. So, like in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom, in front of the Tree of Life at Animal Kingdom, at certain character dining experiences or character meet and greets, so that moms, because it's usually us, that are taking pictures with our phones, and we don't usually get to be in the pictures. So to have your whole family get to be in these pictures, you just tap your magic band and the photographer will take pictures of your family with beautiful backgrounds and cute poses, and then you can have every single picture that you took the whole trip memory maker.
Have you done that before?
I have. Listen, my family ain't pictures. It's like it was nice. But like usually we're just like all about the rides. But if you are one that likes to stop for pictures, it would be very worth it. We just like are always on the go. So like I think about it and like, let's stop for a picture. And they're like, no, let's go to the next ride before this family beats us there.
Sounds like such a joy to go with you.
Anyway.
Pictures, kids. We got to get to the Slinky Dog. That's a ride, right? Yeah.
Yes. If your family are picture takers, you should consider getting it. Now, we are at the day before your vacation. What do you need to do? Obviously, you're going to want to check into your airline if you're flying. That's like happens if you're going to Disney or going somewhere else. I mean, if you've ever flown, like you just got to
just life advice.
Check in. Yes, life advice. Check in 24 hours. It's on the checklist. Now, you're also going to want to cancel any dining reservations that you don't need. You over reserve. I'm not going to say that I over reserve because I'll get mean comments because you shouldn't do that because then it takes away from everyone else. But if you think that you might want to eat there, book it and then cancel it. You have up until 2 hours to cancel it or else you get charged. So like just and make them available to other people at that point. Now, you're going to also want to review how to use and purchase Genie Plus for your first day.
Yeah, you're going to need to like do a whole like 5 segments over Genie Plus, I feel like, because like
yeah, we're going to go over it all. We're all going to go over it all, but you're going to want to review how to do it because you don't want to, the worst thing you can do is get up to make your first purchase at 7 a.m. and then you don't know what you're doing. If that gives you anxiety, don't worry. We're going to go over Genie Plus in a whole separate episode. I can see that you're starting to cringe.
It's just all cringy. Just all of the planning.
But we have a checklist.
So it makes it less cringy.
And then you're going to finish checking into your resort if you haven't done so already and do one last check of the weather. And then you are good to go. That's it. That is all you need to plan. That is like the very basics of like what you're going to plan. Yes, it seems like a lot, but
yeah, the very basics, like this is a 12-month out process. I mean, good information because me, I would have planned it like a week before, which now I see would have been foolish.
Okay, if that was confusing to you, let me just go over it in 6 basic steps. That's less overwhelming. If the checklist was overwhelming to you, here's 6 basic steps. 1, set a budget. 2, pick your dates. 3, pick your hotel. 4, pick your parks and buy your tickets. 5, book your dining. And 6, think of everything else.
Oh my gosh. Think of everything else. Done and done.
That's going to be your packing and your transportation and flights and Genie Plus.
So just look at the checklist, people. Just get the checklist.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
Oh, so many questions. But I will save them for later on.
Okay.
On our next podcasts.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. And it's a good place to start. So look at that checklist. I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can check out disneyplanningpod.com and it will be on there and it's free. Okay. So you just need to download it and it's yours. So, all right. Now that we have done that, which again, we assume no prior knowledge of Disney World planning. So for you newbies, that's a good place to start. Now, For people that are veterans, it's a good review, right?
You're telling me that there's just people out there that just do this like you.
Yes, lots of us. There's lots of us out there. All right. Now for our next segment, sibling showdown.
Oh no, I don't even know what this is. Go. All right.
The age-old debate. I argue that there's no age too young to take your kids to Disney World, and I feel like Stephanie would disagree.
Yes.
So I feel like even though my kids aren't going to remember, I'm going to remember. I took my kids for the first time at 2.5 and 4 months old. My youngest was 4 months old when we went, and it was a lot of work. But to see my child run up to Mickey Mouse at 2 years old was awesome. Now I say that, but it was also during COVID, so he couldn't touch Mickey. But to see
Mickey, it just has a stick. It's like poking him away.
no, he was excited to talk to Mickey.
Oh gosh.
He just had to be 6 feet apart.
See, and I just like hate amusement parks, so it's like, if I have to go, it has to be when they can remember it, because I'm not going to take my kids all the time. And so like it has to be when they can. Also, taking my 2-year-old right now to a Disney park sounds like a terrible idea.
No, but there's so much to do. And you don't have to haul a stroller. Like Orlando is like
that is
so
nice.
It's so child friendly. Everything that you need, you can get. You can order food to your resort. You can stay in a resort that's like right next to the Disney World parks. Like we stayed at the Grand Floridian our first time, and we could walk to Magic Kingdom every day. Or we could take the monorail. And when you take the monorail, you don't have to push your stroller in. You don't have to fold it up. You just wheel it onto the monorail. We had snacks. We had water. We went back to the room with our kids for a nap. Now, I will say 4 months old, no, she didn't care about Mickey. Yeah, but she did like napping in her stroller. And what I think is cool, if you are going to go back multiple times, it's neat because you see their progress. Like the first time, my kid was scared to do anything. Now he likes to do more things. Yes, he's still scared of a lot of things, but it's like just seeing their growth and seeing like where they were like a year ago at Disney compared to where they are now.
So there's that. Or there, you take your child when they remember it, so you don't have to take them again.
Fair enough. Fair enough stuff. Now, for our last segment, it's going to be Character Corner.
Oh, no.
Okay. Would you like to introduce the segment?
No, you go.
It's time for Character Corner, where we ask ourselves questions about Disney characters in real life situations, like normal, rational adult humans do. So, in today's Character Corner, which Disney character out of the main 6, Minnie, Mickey, Donald, Daisy, Pluto, and Goofy, would be the most fun to go to Disney World with?
That's our question for the day. Okay. I'm going to go with Donald.
Why? He's like the grumpiest.
I know, but like I just feel like he would be my vibe at Disney World. Like he just reminds me.
You guys would both be sitting on a bench pouting and grumbling under your breath about how like it was hot.
Make Donald happy. Okay.
Like what?
Like relaxing. I bet a nice cold drink would make him happy. He would get his point across to people when they were in his way. Like he would be somebody that you could vent to when someone's and if somebody tried to force me on a ride I didn't want to go on, come at me, bro. I got Donald.
Okay, so I think going to Disney World with Donald would be like going to Disney World with our dad.
Oh my gosh, that's what I was just thinking. Is he so much like Dad?
Yeah, I've been to Disney World now with Dad twice, and it's like going with Donald. Like he like gets grumpy when people are in his way. I'm like, Dad, you're at Disney World. There's going to be other people. And like he wants to go out in the parking lot and smoke, and you can't smoke at Disney. I could see Donald like being a smoker.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully not. I mean, but he does. I mean, probably.
See, I would pick Mickey Mouse. Like, duh. First of all, it's his park. He's like the main guy. We would get all the VIP treatment. We'd probably get a cut in front, like, of all the lines because, like, oh, Mickey's coming. Like, get out of his way. Like, him and his guests are coming through.
See, and then Donald would just cut in front of you because he don't care about
and Donald
popularity.
would get kicked out. Yes, Donald would get kicked out because Mickey would be like, listen, bro, this is my park. Take him out, security, and you'd be gone.
Also, you know what I appreciate? I don't know. Does Mickey wear pants? Donald just doesn't wear pants. I also really connect with that. Like, if I didn't have to wear pants to Disney World,
you would go to jail.
I mean,
you're just going to show up to Disney like Commando?
Not all the way Commando.
Like, you wouldn't be able to get in, and then you would go to jail.
Swimsuit bottoms. It's just hot, you know? And it's just nobody wants to wear pants.
This is a good time to bring up that Disney does have a dress code, and it's on their website. And if anything has foul language or a bad message, or you are not clothed enough, like if you didn't wear pants or you wore a swimsuit bottom to a non-water park, you will be asked to change. So just to remind the folks, yeah, see, this is such an informative podcast.
Didn't know, but seems pretty hypocritical coming from some of their characters that don't wear pants, but it's fine.
Well, with that being said, that's a wrap on today's episode. This was our first episode, but we'll continue next episode with a deeper dive on when you should plan your Disney World vacation. And so make sure to subscribe to the podcast. You can also rate and review us.
Got our website at disneyplanningpod.com where you can get a free planning checklist that we talked about today, get access to our other planning tools, check out our Facebook page, Disney Planning Pod, which I just found out we had, and we're excited to hear your thoughts and answer your burning questions in future episodes. I have a list of questions that I am burning to get answered now, so I'll put you right under mine.
That's all for today, Disney Planners. Remember, the magic is in the details. Thanks for joining us. We can't wait to share more tips and tales next time. Goodbye for now.